Welcome to Punk Rock Anthropology, where we discuss punk culture and music, media, books, etc. The list goes on. Anyway.
Won't be any books if you're talking to me.
I need you a full analysis on 5 books. Thank you. I will send you my recommended reading list, which
Stuart
I do
Little
have.
I can tell you about.
Okay, yeah.
I know that books have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Well, today we are here to talk about music, so this is the music part of it. If you have not been paying attention to my channel, I've definitely mentioned 1876 a billion times, and I said I vowed to keep doing it, so no apologies to anybody. But let's dive into it, because I have a lot of questions, because I've been following your brand since 2020. The beginning. Weird disclosure. So I found y'all on Instagram, and of all places I found you on Instagram was Erin Miklow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which I just thought that was strange for her content. This is not a judgment of anything, but I was just like, what is this band? It was just really peculiar to me. So I looked it up, and I was like, holy shit, this slaps so hard, and I love it. And I was just like, I can't believe I followed a band she recommended. I say, I think she's a lovely person. It has nothing to do with it. But I was just like, I just can't believe like that worked full funnel the way it was supposed to.
Yeah.
So yes, I was very surprised.
I'm a big fan of hers. Like she's super sweet. She's always been really nice to me.
I have a vow to support any women no matter what. So
that's the thing. Yeah. Like, that's why I like Erin so much, is like we kind of like upset the same type of person, and it's like middle-aged white guys. Like basically, that's why I like Erin so much. I'm just like,
and people want to hate on her, but she does put in the work. And of all things, so I work in digital media, and one time I was looking up influencers for his campaign and stuff, and I was like, I want to know who's the biggest influence in punk. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like that's good information to know. Yeah. It's her.
It is her, yeah.
So, I mean, lucky you.
I know.
Seriously, lucky you. Of all things in the world. But, so the first thing, so I found y'all through that, and then when I was like, 1876, like, I had a really hard time figuring out why that was significant. And this is why I was like, okay, obviously something happened during this year. I'm assuming this is why. And I came up with like all kinds of reasons, because weirdly, a lot happened in that year. And it wasn't even like, even when you narrow it down, we're talking a lot of things happened to indigenous people on top of that. So I was like, it could be 5 things. Yeah. So it wasn't until I was researching for this interview, I was like, oh, now I have the pin. I know, I pinpointed it. So I was like, okay, but could you explain to an audience that has not heard your band, what is the significance of your band name?
It's the year Budweiser started.
Yeah.
1876 is in reference to the Battle of Little Bighorn. Yeah. But it's less about defeating Custer and destroying the military like we did, but it's more the idea that the Oglala, the Blackfeet, which is, you can't see the flag, but there's a Blackfeet flag there, and there's a Cheyenne flag behind the camera, the Arapaho. The 4 of us weren't always on great terms, but we were able to put our differences aside and accomplish this thing that everybody said couldn't be done. And Custer himself said there weren't enough Indians in the world to stop the 7th Cavalry. And all we had to do was be like, hey, we should get along a little bit better. And then we did it. And since then, it's one of the only U.S. military defeats. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely something that we take pride in. But more importantly, it's just the idea that when we work together and support each other, put our differences aside as Indian people, we can accomplish what the world says is not possible. Yeah. So that's what that's about.
You gotta love alliances, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Common enemy is always great too.
If I'm not mistaken, too, it was the first time that many tribes came together other than Standing Rock. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's another significant thing too. I think that many tribes came together for a common goal, and it hasn't happened since, except for Standing Rock.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, speaking of formations, like how did this band, your project, like come to be?
So I started this. I started really trying to do this like years ago.
Yeah.
And I had the idea. I don't know, man. 10, 12 years
A
ago.
long time ago.
Many
Yeah.
moons ago, yeah. Many moons ago. But then I kept trying. I kept having computers that were crashing, and I didn't have a power drum. Like, it was everything that I needed for this, I didn't have.
Yeah.
But for some reason, 2020 came, the world shut down, and somehow I had everything I needed to do this. So
In time, right?
Yeah, I had the time. Well, I work on an ambulance, so I really didn't have that much time.
Okay. Never mind.
But
yeah.
But yeah, I just started it on my own in 2020 and started kind of building it. Put out the first EP on my own, and as it's gone further and gotten a little bit bigger, I really wanted, once the world was starting to open up again, and I wasn't seeing so many COVID patients because it was like mostly me. I was like, I don't want to be in a crowd. Like, I'm the worst person to be there right now. And now that everything's opening back up, I was like, man, I gotta get a band together. Like, we gotta. So I asked Mark, who I've been playing in punk bands with since we were 13. I've known Mark my entire life. Like, I haven't known a day without Mark. Well, there was like 2 weeks there, right, before you were born?
That was it,
yeah. There's 2 weeks that we didn't know each other. And then he was born, and my life was the worst. And then so Mark and I have been playing in bands forever. Joe's my brother, and Joe's been really supportive of everything I was doing and really believed in what I was doing. So, of course, I wanted him to be a part of it. Yeah. And then the other two dudes are Clay Kills First and James Whalen. And James was just a fan, and he was like, hey, I play bass if you ever need a bass player. And when I started putting a band together, I was like, hey, I need a bass player.
Now I need a bass player. Yeah, thank you.
And Clay is he was in a video, and he was just super stoked about what we're doing. He's my cousin's husband, so we're kind of related. I was at their wedding, and I asked him to be a part of it, and he was like, absolutely. Yeah. So
you gotta get that family obligation in.
Exactly.
You gotta.
That's what this whole thing is. The whole thing is family.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
It was like, nothing like a good old family obligation to get shit going.
Exactly. Everybody's cousins, everybody's cousin, uncle.
Yeah, that's how Hans Gruber has their band. It's my dad's.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, nice.
He just owes family favors for like here to eternity now, but it's fine. It's fine. Speaking of, I would like to know kind of, well, the premise of this channel is like, I feel everybody does punk in their own way, and yet obviously there's like crossovers of, you know, certain morals, music styles, blah, blah, blah. But I definitely want to know more about the local scene here and like how it's kind of influenced your music.
The scene is kind of trash a little bit.
I mean,
like it doesn't really exist.
That
much.
That would probably be the first hurdle, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you play anywhere, or like?
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like,
a
lot of the clubs have closed down. Like, we've been musicians for a long time, so a lot of the clubs that we used to play and run around, they're gone. And that's even a line in Punks and Rude Boys. All the clubs we used to run are all closed down. Yeah. And torn down. And punk has never really been a huge thing as long as I've been a musician in Portland. Like, there was a scene, but it was like crust punks. Yeah. And I like showers.
I feel you.
Yeah. And then when Mark and I were playing in punk bands a long time ago, it was like hardcore, like this kind of hardcore, not like punk hardcore, but like screamo. That was really, really big. Like, scene kids were like, that was huge here.
Yeah,
and
it was everywhere.
Yeah, so we would play like, we'd get on a bill with like 3 scene bands, and we were the punk band, and they're just like, ew.
Yeah, you're the token punk band.
Exactly. Yeah,
there'd be like no audience participation. You hear one person.
Yeah,
and you're like, yay! Let's go to the next song.
Yeah, it was rough, but there was a cool underground scene that I wasn't a big part of because I was always in ceremonies and stuff like that. But Mark was a bigger part of that. He went to a lot of like house shows. Like, it was No Heroes, right? It was like the big one.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
They're the big ones here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Mark is a better understanding of that. The one who's not on camera.
Yeah. He's the drummer. No, I get that. I mean, a lot of that's kind of happening in Austin too. It's like there's a battle over real estate, and then, you know, people move downtown and they're like, oh, we don't want music past certain times. And it's like, well, you moved to the music capital of the world. What did you expect to happen? Like, it's really bizarre. But
plus, we like now what's happening is we get so many people moving in from not Portland who like want to contribute their dream of what Portland is to Portland. Okay. So they come here and play like Americana and folk, and we're just like, you close the punk clubs down, so this dude.
I'll trade you tech bros. I'll trade you. I will trade you Elon Musk. Okay,
that's true.
Yeah, I would rather have a folk invasion any day than some of the other stuff that we have.
They're okay dudes, I guess.
Yeah. Like, at least they want to play shows, you know. At the very least,
they just don't want us to play shows.
Well, you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but like, was it? So when I was growing up, I weirdly was the only punk kid in my high school, and my family didn't understand it. And I'm just kind of curious if your family questions you having this band and like, you know, dressing a certain way, being a certain way that's just non-traditional in a sense.
Sound like you're gonna say something.
I was gonna say, I think so. Our older brother was more into the grunge, so he had the big old Jinko stovepipe pants and all that stuff. I think I was kind of the one that pushed a little bit more, and I had the full studded leather jacket with the tight Chucks and Converse or Dickies and all that. But I also had like Liberty Spikes and Mohawks that were a different color every other week. So I think they've been really supportive, but in order for me to pull off the hairstyle, I told them when I got tired of it, I'd grow my hair out. And it's been 13 years. Okay. I haven't cut my hair in 13 years. But I think I've helped kind of pave the way.
It helps when you have an older sibling kind of take the brunt.
I was literally like the only punk in my high school too. Yeah. That still went. There's a few that started and then dropped out immediately. And
exactly. You might have one, but then they don't stay long.
Yeah, I think my mom was always worried, like, when I started getting into punk rock and stuff, my mom was encouraging of us playing music, always, because just Indians in general are musical people, but my mom was really concerned that when you go to these clubs, like, Portland has a big skinhead, like Nazi skinhead, not sharps. There are sharps here, but there's a lot of neo-Nazis here, and they tend to hang out in punk clubs. So my mom's biggest fear was, like, she would always just tell me, remember, you're not one of them. You might look a little bit like them. You might listen to the same music as them. You're not one of them. And when things flip, you're the one they're coming after. Yeah. So my mom was just always worried about that more than anything. That she didn't really care about. My mom's a huge Prince fan. So like
I saw in another video. I was like, ooh, let me tell you. Like I totally get that life.
Yeah, and I'm a huge Prince fan. Like,
that was
a Prince hoodie.
I think we're all a Prince fans.
So there was nothing shocking visually that my mom was like, my mom or my dad just didn't care. Like what we looked like is as long as you do your work or whatever, just don't get into trouble. Yeah. But I would say like some of the medicine people that I grew up around, they were kind of like, what's going on here? They're just like, you know, when you listen to that bad stuff, that bad stuff's gonna come follow you, and you're gonna bring it back to your family. Is that what you want? And you're just like, come on, man, what's wrong? That's a bad religion. What's wrong with that?
They just want to save people, like the whales, and like wanted people to be liberated. I swear.
What's funny is we went back to our reservation for ceremony one summer, and I had blue hair. Then the next year we went back, and everybody had blue hair.
At least had bleached their hair.
Yeah.
At least. Damn.
So I had blue hair and Liberty Spikes, and the next year we went back and everybody had some variation of it.
Our cousins and stuff.
Yeah. Like I left a mark.
You left a mark.
There's always like a weird stark contrast in the Mexican culture. It's like there's so many Mexican punks. It's just wonderful, and I love it, and I'm obsessed with it. But then all the grandmothers just think that it's like the devil's music.
Yeah.
It's just like if you only knew the difference.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird?
It is so weird. But there's just so many of us. Like,
Yeah.
It just can't be. You know, like how are people shocked still? You know.
Yeah. For real.
But then no, it still happens anyway. So obviously social media has definitely changed the game for you a lot. I'm curious how like social media, specifically like TikTok, made opportunities for your music and to bring it to a broader audience. Like, how has that affected you?
I think TikTok is only now just starting to help a little bit. It's not really like nobody's on TikTok to see an Indian like talking about issues.
I don't know. I follow like 20 plus people.
Yeah.
But I'm also probably an outlier in that sense. But
yeah, well, I mean, I just don't think like you have to find things that are really eye catching. So like with this last music video, I specifically thought about TikTok, which is what it is.
Yeah.
But like I was like, you need something that's like 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds that's gonna catch somebody's attention so that they can hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
So there's specific scenes that I thought of in this last music video that we did. But as far as like broadening my audience, it's just now happening because of that music video that I did. Before that, I didn't really get anything on TikTok. It was mostly racism that I get on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand. Like I was comparing my life to a country song. Yeah. Just saying like the stereotype of a country song is your truck is gone, your wife is gone, your dog is gone. Yeah. So that's what happened. My wife took my truck and my dog to go visit her parents, so all that stuff was gone. And I was like, hey, it's like I'm living in a country song. And people were just like, you lost the war, get over it. And you're like, what are you talking about? It doesn't have to do with anything.
You're like, where are you even getting this shit?
I knocked the door and knocked on Mark and shut up, Mark.
I have to moderate my own live, so you don't have to tell me. I already know.
It's a trip.
The only reason I kind of bring that up is I feel TikTok is definitely a game changer of sense of like, you know, getting more music out there to people. I think because it was a music-based app previously, I think a lot of that community stayed. Because, like, I talked to a lot more critics. Like, I'm friends with Anthony Fantano. Like, what the hell,
wow.
right? Yeah. Like, that would have never happened in any other scenario.
Yeah.
Right.
I hate YouTube. But, or like, I've met other bands through there and things like that. Yeah. So I feel like that's the next evolution of like music promotion. So I'm glad to see that like something is working in that sense. Like
it's kind of hard because like it's hard for me to get behind because the retention. Like you're thinking of 20 seconds, 15 seconds. That's all you get. And you have like our songs are 2.5 minutes long. Yeah. Specifically because the attention span for people right now is like nothing. There's no attention span. No. So you have to write things really quick. You have to say exactly what you need to say. Like I take a lot of that from hip hop, from the hip hop world, of just being crass and like I'm gonna say what I need to say. I don't really, you know what I mean? Like because in punk rock, like a lot of times you have to think about melody and things like that. It's the punk rock that I like. Yeah. And so I don't know, man. It's just it's crazy to have to like consider TikTok. Yeah. As a musician to move forward because you're like I have 15 seconds to catch somebody. Yeah. It's crazy.
So I threw you all on live earlier and like... Oh. I think I got like 200 to 300 people watching.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's sick. That's cool.
Yeah. As I was saying, it's really interesting because like...
I wish we played better.
Way to go, man.
Yeah. I only do a couple of songs on that because I would like rather enjoy my time. But but honestly, like... A lot of people discover a lot of bands that way. I've come to find out, so like, I'm just gonna throw people out there, like whatever.
Yeah, this last clip that I put on TikTok so far was the furthest reach with music. Because usually my TikToks are just goofing around and making jokes.
Yeah, I mean, who cares? Yeah. It's like I'm not gonna take this seriously, even though I'm doing okay. But. Right. I was really curious about this statement. It says, from sweat lodges to punk clubs, 1876 helped shed light on a narrative often neglected by the music industry. Yeah. Can you elaborate?
On which part of that?
I would say more so, like, probably the music industry part, like it's kind of mind-boggling to me in the sense of, we've had a lot more Native representation in media, which is well needed. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, why are we not getting that in the music industry either? Like we seem to be making strides with films and, having more people be more public on social media and things, but why not music,
Yeah, I think ultimately because music is the most, it's just a part of entertainment. Yeah. But it's the easiest, most like lucrative type of entertainment. And so when Indians come on and start saying like, hey, my cousin went missing last week. It's not on the news. No. Like there are land grabs happening right now. People we voted for are stealing from us. Our water is terrible. Like things like that. Like that's not entertaining. Yeah. Like, people don't hear that and go, hey, this is a cool song to dance to. You know what I mean? Over there. Yeah.
Actually, interesting thing happened at COVID. Speaking of non-representation, somebody went on TikTok, I don't remember what tribe they were from, but they were like, hey, we need supplies. Yeah. Like, send us supplies. Like, we're desperate, and we got a bunch of people in our punk community to do it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
But I was like, would have never known if someone never said anything. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, we're America's secret. Yeah. Like America does not like to think about us. They don't like to consider us for anything, and they don't like it when we speak out. So when you see musicians who are speaking out or who do get an opportunity to use their voice, it's typically not always, but it's typically not in a way that sheds light on anything that could benefit us. Like a lot of stuff, there's so many rappers, man, and I love hip-hop, but there's only so many times I can hear an Indian say that he's got money and bitches. And I'm just like, no, you don't have either of those things. Why would you know what I mean? Yeah. I know you and your auntie. Yeah. What are you talking about?
You got 5 blocks of government cheese right man. I know that.
I'm coming to rob you too because I found out about it.
I think the other side of that too is there's no real representation for city Indians either. Yeah. And, a lot of musicians and stuff, they talk about the reservation life and that life, but it's a whole different ballgame when you have to fit in both worlds out here. And we don't have an accurate representation of that. So I think, him starting it and kind of shedding light on that whole area that isn't explored is beneficial too.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not like you're one monolith,
Exactly. Yeah, we're not all the same. Yeah. We have several experiences, and we even have our flags hanging up here. We're 3 different tribes in here, in this little room. Yeah. And all of us have had different experiences. Yeah, and then the minority.
Oh man.
Mark's white. Anyone who can't see it.
Yeah,
he's an ally.
Mark is just Mark, man. Yeah. Mark's a Hilliard.
Yeah, we're rocking with Mark, man.
Yeah, exactly. Hilliards have been with the Indians for a long time.
Mark transcends race. He's just Mark.
He just shows up. That's the thing. Like, hey, Mark, we're gonna be at this thing.
Very, very curious about your production process. It just has these wonderful layering in it. So, we're talking, obviously electric guitars and, drum kits, things like that. But you're also layering in acoustic instruments, tribal and traditional instruments, and even, I think I've heard a drum machine in there one time. So I'm just saying, it's nothing's off the table, but, what is your process for layering all that stuff?
Well, I'm a musician, first and foremost.
I mean, do you just start, for example, do you just start maybe, on guitar, and then you, kind of build from there, or?
I would say, for every song, the recording process, anyway, I start with the drums. Okay. So the drums are the very first thing. I record them myself. Okay. I drum. So I go into a studio, and, an actual studio, a friend of mine has a studio, and I drum that out. And then I start stacking on top of that. So guitars are usually next because they're kind of the heart of the song, the meat or whatever. And then, actually, it's the very first thing I record is Pow Wow drums.
Okay.
Because I need to know where they're at.
Yeah.
So when I'm drumming, that I can remember, like, because there's a certain way you have to drum behind them.
Mm-hmm.
So Pow Wow drums, I record that at home, and then regular drum kit in a studio, and then guitars, bass, vocals. One of the last things is usually the dancer's bells.
Yeah.
It's like one of the last things that I put in there.
Is it like 36 tracks? How many are there?
Yeah, I think one song was like 57. Yeah. Because I do the vocals on my own too, so
Yeah.
like I have to stack.
Yeah, I was saying, I was trying to guess, like, in my mind, I was like, minimum 36.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty manners.
That's why I was like, I don't... Because to me, it's like, you're just building, and it's just like this crazy, like, crescendo of sound at
Yeah.
a certain point.
That's why I can't record it in a regular studio, because
Yeah.
I could not afford that.
Okay, yeah. No. I worked in a studio and no.
Yeah, even with my friend who has a studio,
Yeah.
like I still pay him. So
Yeah.
like, I can only go in there and get the drums down. The songs are a minute and a half because that's what I can afford. And then I split.
Yeah, I was joking earlier. I was like, man, I wish they played all their 3 albums because it still would have been like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's exhausting too much.
But also, Mark
Yeah.
would probably die at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work on Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, you kind of answered my second question is like, where do you record or like what you do? So at least you have access to that to create this kind of music and layering. That's why I was like, I don't know how he's doing it. It's like if he's doing it in his bedroom, wow.
It's mostly all my bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
the only thing I
like
do
a mix of both?
the only thing I do is in the studio is the drums.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and that's because that's what I can afford.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but everything else is done in my apartment. Before it was done in my living room. Now I have a specific room I can do it in.
Okay.
That my wife was like, do that there.
Yeah.
Now that's where I do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I definitely want to discuss your discography. Obviously, the 45 minutes that we talked about. I really find interesting about the whole thing. So, like the covers. Let's start there. Like the fact that you chose women to be on your covers, and it's all the women. I from what I can understand is your family and friends.
Yeah.
And where did this idea come from?
It came pretty organically. Like the first one is my mom.
Yeah.
The first EP is our mom, and I did that because my mom. We come from really strong women. Like Blackfeet side is really strong women, and that's who most of the women that I knew in my family were Blackfeet. Most of the people I knew on my Cheyenne side were men.
Mm-hmm.
So we just come from really strong women, and that's what when I look in my own eyes, I see the women in my family.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the strongest, this drive that I have to be resistant and to be the rock that's in the river, being shaped by the river, but not giving into the river, comes from the women, 100%.
Yeah.
So the first EP, I didn't think there would be more. And so I was like, well, my mom gave me all of this. My mom gave me, I wanted to play guitar, to sing with my mom. Like, my mom gave me all of this. So I'm just going to honor my mom as best as I can and ask her to do it. She said, yeah. And then the second one is my cousin Nina. And I asked her to do it because, so like my mom gave me life. Nina gave me something else that she knows what she gave me, but it was something else that in my life, my life would not be what my life is without this gift that Nina gave me. So she, in her own right, she's on my Cheyenne side. I'm so proud of her. Like, everything she's accomplished in life, it just makes me want to push further and push harder. And she's one of the people that I really, really look up to. So I wanted her to be the second person because she gave me something that nobody can take from me and something that enhanced my life. And this last EP is my wife.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. My wife has been supporting me and been through all the ups and downs so far with me. And she's just another part of my life and another person who's given me something that nobody can take away from me.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 people I wanted to honor.
Yeah. props to your wife for wearing chingona earrings.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We were trying to, like, I was like, what could you wear? Because she was like, I don't want to look like an Indian. I'm not Indian. And I was like, well, I know, but what would you wear? And she's like, I don't know, some bamboo earrings. And then her mom was like, you should put chingona on there.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, do that.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of that word and
Yeah.
the embraceness of it.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Even though my grandmother told me not to say that out loud, but
yeah. She also wore an embroidered shirt.
Yeah.
From Mexico, she got Manzanillo.
Yeah, no, I was like, I was saying, I'm really fascinated by like all the little details, and the fact that your mom wore land back earrings are just,
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I bought those, and I was just showing my mom. She's like, I really like those, and I was like, you want to wear them? And she was
like, that's awesome. Yeah. You're like, I don't even have to sell that to you.
Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
No, inappropriate. So I definitely want to talk just quickly about the first album, just because it was impressive. It was impressive in the sense of I've never heard anything like that before. I was like, this album is like indigenous music mixed with Op Ivy or like Rancid or something, and I just would never have thought in a million years I would hear something like that. But man, did I feel like I was missing out by not listening to it either. And I think that's like why I sweat your band so much, is because I'm like, punk goes through cycles and trends and things, but like this is that just amped up even more, and like it just feels like a missing piece, Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear.
So like
nothing out there like it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm saying like we all inherently know that it is punk music, like it's ingrained everywhere, but like we can't keep all doing the same shit over and over. Like, and I think in other parts of the world, in certain cultures, just really sometimes just like hold on to that ball and run with it really bad. Like I feel like people in Singapore do really good oi.
Yeah.
They like discovered it like 3 years ago, and they're just like, this is our thing now, and it's ours. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, why can't we do that?
I mean, I kind of had very similar feedback when Gabe first played the rough cut of the EP for me, and I was like, yeah, you got something here. Like, run with it.
Yeah.
Go as far as you can with it.
Yeah.
And then I'll ride your coattails to the top.
I will say I was here in the beginning.
Yeah. Hey, when he put that out, I said, hey, you should put that out.
So it's pretty good.
He owes me if you really think about it.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to say.
Well, definitely the track that stood out to me from that first one is Tribes and Tribulations. I think it's just a really powerful song about the treatment of Indigenous women. It also is like very hopeful at the same time. It's the best mix of like punk power chords and bells I've ever heard. And then I was like, also on top of that, just because it's like you also mix languages in it too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot I did that.
Yeah. You're like, that is a lot. Yeah. So as I'm saying, that's why I was obviously questioning your layering, because I'm saying there's a lot going on. So like when I re-listen to these albums, I'm picking out new things constantly.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's not the same old
Yeah.
in a sense. But I mean, can you speak about that track a little bit, or like?
Yeah. I have to remember how it goes. I mean, I know how the chorus goes.
I can play on my Spotify.
What's the
I don't
first
want to sing
line?
it for you because I will be thoroughly embarrassed.
On my phone.
You can do it.
That's what it is. In a world where fighting the war of white and black, I stand a red man.
Yeah.
So the song, like, just saying tribes and tribulations is kind of a play on trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
So I just threw that out there, and I was like, that's kind of cool. But mainly, it's like you said, it's just about the strife that Indigenous people face, and more from my perspective. I do feel like I always felt like growing up, when you talk about racism, people are like, "No, I like black people," and you're like, "There's Indians. There's all kinds of. There's a whole spectrum of people."
Yeah.
And we typically get left out of all that kind of stuff, and so I really do feel like a lot of times in this country, it's like, I mean, that's kind of, it's a common line in a lot of my music, but in this country, it's always like white versus black.
Yeah.
when it's about any kind of like, I don't know, like.
Well, it just goes on that, like, when the elections happen, and they're like, Hispanic, Latino, Black, African descent, Asian descent, white descent, and then something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and
the
like,
other box.
we're the something else.
Yeah.
It literally was that was no
That's
race.
what it
just
says,
said something else.
We get looked over constantly, and people are fighting a battle for who should be on top of our bones.
Yeah.
Like,
I also think people like don't understand that colonialism is still a thing.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh no, we fought that a long time ago, and then we became this country.
And then
like,
we
no,
won.
no, it was never over.
It
was never over.
It's still moving.
It's still happening within these walls.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico,
Right.
like you know, it's still happening, and I just think people like seldomly forget that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what that song's about. I just kind of, I threw a big net with that song, and there was a lot of things I wanted to talk about, a lot of things that I wanted to say, and it was more of like a frustration inside of me that just, this is how it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But excellent opening track. I'll talk about this one just real quickly, just because I found it really interesting from another interview. One last song. I said I think it's a song about endings, as I don't particularly think it's a breakup song, but maybe it could be. But in a previous interview, you said you were really influenced by like Irish punk bands. Yeah. And that song kind of gives me that vibe.
Yeah, one of my biggest influences is Flogging Molly. Flogging Molly and he's got the Real Mackenzies, who are Scottish. Yeah. But just, like powwow songs, traditional songs like that. It's not necessarily folk the same way that they do it, but like the way that we bring the instruments in, I kind of got it from them, and I don't know. That song was more inspired by No Use for a Name.
Oh shit!
It has a bigger influence for No Use for a Name.
Okay.
Because that song is actually about my uncle who passed, and we were both really close to my uncle.
Which No Use for a Name song were you thinking about?
Actually, so I'll tell you exactly what the influence is. So the first verse is like, it's just kind of like my thing, I guess. But when I wrote the song, my brother and I were both really close to my uncle, and my brother's like one of his favorite bands is No Use for a Name.
Yeah, it's like on the top.
Yeah, and he told me once that one of his favorite things about No Use for a Name is the slow melodies over the fast rhythms. So the second verse I actually wrote with my brother in mind, just being like he wasn't in the band or anything, but I just wanted to let my uncle know, like, we both miss you, we both care about you.
Yeah, I what comes to mind is like International You Did.
Yeah,
oh my god,
yeah,
that's about his dad, and it's just oh my god, it's so gutting.
Yeah. So the song is about my uncle. The line of just saying one last song, like. Just sing me one last song. My uncle used to sing all the time, like sing traditional songs, not powwow, but traditional songs, ceremony songs. And I miss hearing it. I miss hearing his voice, and I miss hearing his songs. Yeah. So.
And like you were saying, it reminds me of International You Day, but it also reminds me of Feels Like Home.
Okay.
Like that just right in the gut, kind of gut hit from a lyric, you know.
Yeah. No, I get that. So I really like older No Use for a Name, because like when they were more hardcore, because once they started getting there, I was like, this is making me feel shit. This is making me feel shit I'm not ready to process.
It's heavy there.
They're
got real heavy, but it's great. It's fantastic.
Like their music became more like whimsical. But then the lyrics just took a hard.
Oh my God.
You know.
It's sneaky. I was like, I feel like it's being slightly sneaky. I was like, oh, it's so poppy, and then I was like, ooh.
Like that song they have, the saddest song, where it's like the music is just so upbeat and happy, but it's all about how you're just a slave to work, basically. You're a slave to the media and everything else, and I was like, well, that's just horribly depressing. Awesome. Cool. Thanks. But for some reason, I'm in a good mood.
That's my problem with that. I was like, I can't listen to it all the time because it gets me in a weird headspace, but talented band.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know if I want to. Okay, I'm going to skip over this too, just because we'll go on forever. Okay, Punks and Rude Boys. Just the lyrics alone, I think, are just top notch. Specifically, like Where Are the Punks, Where Are the Rude Boys, taking our voice but making no noise.
Yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about that.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I don't know, man. Everybody wants to be punk. Everyone wants to be cool, but like, seldomly do they truly mean it, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
You know, like, what are we doing then? You know, like, cool, we go to shows, we like drink beer, hang out, but like, what are we actually doing? Yeah. You know, people want to talk about community and unity and shit, but like, let's really back it up, you know. And I've seen successful scenes and communities do this, so I'm not like shaming anybody like not doing enough, but I feel like that kind of sums it up really well, you know. Like, just like, I don't know, like it's hard to really voice that kind of thing, and especially to people outsiders that don't really understand that life.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, yeah, this nails it.
That's your song, huh?
I mean, yes. I would say Trials and Tribulations is probably my song, but
yeah, they're all good.
They're all good. They're all good. It's not a bad song, is what I'm trying to say.
Is that a jerk thing for me to say?
Yeah, no.
They're all good. You can pick anyone. They're fine.
No, you work hard on them. Fuck it, right? Who cares? Yeah. If you don't believe in yourself, who the fuck is going to believe in you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
100%.
I did a weird art project where I once talked about, this is terrible timing, but like Kanye energy. It's like, sometimes you got to believe you're that fucking good.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're not going to make other people believe it. You're not going to convince yourself. Like, you just got to go there.
Yeah.
You shouldn't stay there, I think, is the lesson you learn. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're not your biggest fan and you're not repping your own shit, like,
well,
what are we doing?
Well, I am Pablo Picasso. I am Walt Disney. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
Flavor Flav will be your hype band.
Yeah. Well, let's definitely talk about the new album before we close out. Don't Give a Fuck is an interesting, awesome opening track because we definitely talked about hip hop and being influenced. Like, I feel like that is a very like almost like Public Enemy kind of state. Like, you're like right in the gate. Here's my point. You're gonna listen to me, kind of thing. Is there a reason you picked that as your track, or as the single, or what you're presenting first for the album?
I think it best represents exactly how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And, like, I was hoping that in 2020 when I started this would kind of help me resolve some of my feelings, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. Like, there hasn't been a resolve yet. Yeah. So I think that song, there are the whole breakdown part. It's pretty cutthroat, and I understand that, but it's truly how I feel. Like, watching people fight over equality. Yeah, people just marching for equality. My people are buried in unmarked graves under the streets that they're marching on because they want to be equal. But you're ignoring that we're missing, we're disappearing. Like I said earlier in the interview, like, our water's being poisoned, like, all kinds of things are happening to us. We're like, there's not a single thing that I said that isn't true. There's not a single thing that I wrote that has not directly affected me in my life.
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating to watch so many people like doing this. Mine.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the recognition, this is all mine, and failing to acknowledge that what they're saying is theirs is stolen from me and my people.
Yeah.
When they're marching for equality, it's on our bones, and that we are.
Yeah, it's like what does equality mean? You know?
Yeah.
I was just like, for me too, it kind of speaks on like with the Catholic mission and churches and stuff like that, and how they dug up the grounds of 4 churches and they found thousands and thousands and thousands of unmarked graves of children. And the Pope goes, "We're sorry," and everything's fine. Yeah. And it's like, where's the justice?
As a former Catholic, I have lots of opinions on that.
Right.
But, yeah.
But, you know, it's like, where's the justice? You go, "Oh, I'm sorry, that's our bad." But there's still thousands and thousands and thousands of dead children. Yeah. And no media attention to it.
It's just frustrating to be an Indian.
Yeah.
It's not, and like, there's so many different versions of being an Indian. Mm-hmm. Like, we're from the city, and we're far from our tribes. We're still connected, but we don't live on on the res. We live on the city on the West Coast, and our tribes in Montana. Both our tribes are in Montana. But it's just frustrating to be an Indian.
Yeah.
Like the first line, 300 million people waiting for me to lose my grip on the control that I've salvaged, is exactly like, that's how I feel every day. People are waiting for me because of my braids and everything. They in their head, they have already labeled me a savage.
Yeah.
I belong in history books and in cages. I don't belong on the streets. I'm not supposed to be contributing to society. I'm this one thing that's just inches away from losing their mind because I'm an animal. That's what people really believe. All colors in this country, any color of American, that's what they believe about me and my family, me and my brother, me and my mom, me and my dad.
Yeah. We're still a Halloween costume.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
so that's what we live with.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's what came out of the song.
Yeah, like, and then, like, the other thing that people don't realize is, you know, we have to carry a special ID to prove that we actually belong to a tribe.
Yeah.
But that ID is a pedigree number. It tells us our
Mm-hmm.
blood quantum because we're still animals. The BIA is a subsidiary of Fish and Wildlife. You know, we're still animals. We're still not people, and that's never going to change the way things are going.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of frustration, and to me, it's a lot of frustration and a lot of feeling helpless, but the one thing that, you know, he's got that we've got is music, and if it's heard, it spreads the message.
Yeah.
Definitely want to talk about Great Escape. You also did a video for that as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that one, the EP was supposed to come out a long time ago. So that video came out in March.
Yeah.
I was like, it'll be 3 months and the EP will come out. And then it ended up being almost a year.
I mean, what are rules in time at this point, right? After COVID, like,
exactly.
I don't think any of that shit matters anymore.
Exactly.
But no, I think it's a really visually stunning video. All of them are good, but I was like, something about this one is just, I don't know. How was it filming that? Like,
it was cool. Like, I found it really important to, like, to let people know that, like, we're city Indians. Like, I don't pretend to be from the res, like, and that Indians are out here in the city, like the graffiti and everything. This is what I grew up with. Like, I'm covered in tattoos because I grew up in the city. Like, this is just the graffiti came off the walls onto my skin. But I don't know. It was at my cousin's shop, my cousin Josh.
Yeah,
like
I found that really interesting.
Yeah,
like,
I try to keep it in the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really proud of him. I'm really proud of his shop. Like. I just wanted to be there.
Well, I ask because it's like, it looks like, from what I can tell visually, like this is y'all's community.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
like
exactly.
You're literally looking at it.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I wanted it to be, because I knew that this was going to be the first, like, kind of look in at 1876. And so I just wanted it to be very clear what we are. We're not pretending to be anything. We're not. We're from the city. We're at my cousin's shop. Like, this is it. Yeah. There's not a lot of us, like, in our circle. There's a lot of Indians here, but we're Plains Indians, and there's not a lot of them out here. So we'll just stick together.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to talk about as far as this new release? Like, what people should expect, or like, where are you moving next as a band?
I want to play more shows, that's for sure.
You're like, book me.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Bring us to your city.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or country. I'll go to Canada. I don't know about these guys, but I'll go.
I'll go anywhere there's free food.
Yeah.
That's on the writer.
So,
don't care what kind of food it is.
Yeah.
It has to be there.
As long as it's free, I'm there.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, just, I want to take this as far as I can take it.
Yeah.
And go as high as I can go with these guys. And as far as this new EP, like, I worked the hardest on this one, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And
you put in a lot of time.
Yeah, a lot of, I gained weight because I was just like, it was so up and down with this thing.
I sympathy gained weight.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the problem, is like, especially when you're like a perfectionist or whatever, you're like, how do I top myself?
Yeah.
And I think, as I say, I'm sure this third time around, you're like, okay, I've tried this, I've done this, but what can I do more, better? Like,
I feel like this EP was honed in a little more. Like, the first EP was a big net. Second EP was like, okay, well, what do you guys think about all this stuff? And then this one's more like I'm kind of finding where we need to be. Like, yeah, it's a little more focused, I think, this one.
Yeah, I definitely, when you said unresolved,
yeah,
that really struck with me.
Yeah.
Like, I
do
feel that.
way.
Yeah.
Like you walk around with this constant anger with no real outlet, you know,
Yeah.
because there's no representation of us, and we're frustrated, and we're angry, and we have nowhere to put it. So rather than doing something bad, like, you know, drugs, alcohol, violence, and jail, and put it in the music and put a message out there.
Yeah, honestly, that's a reason why I'm obsessed with punk to begin with. I was a very angry teenager, and this was like the only positive place I could put it.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, this at least has a goal, or people don't want to have fascists, or they want to like help people and do things. It's like, these are the right things to be angry about.
Yeah.
You know, like I need that space.
And for me, it's not even really about being angry. It's just like the women in my family gave me my voice. So, like, I'm supposed to use it. You know, like everything my people have sacrificed, everything our family has sacrificed, fighting Custer, running during Sand Creek, all that stuff. Like our grandma hiding and things like that. Like everything that they have gone through has brought us here. I'm not about to waste it. Like, you know, like I'm not going to waste my voice. So I'm frustrated, but I'm not just going to sit and stew on it. I'm going to say something.
Well, I say the music is definitely hopeful. You know, like you're not going to sugarcoat things, but you're also not going to be like, well, you know, we're just going to take this lick. No, we're going to keep going, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know?
I'm not going anywhere.
There's actually a Pennywise song I really want to cover, the Let Your Voices Be Heard. Like, I really want to cover that song, because I think that's kind of like right up the alley of what we're saying is we're here, you know, let's all be heard.
Yeah, there's no reason why we need to. I keep burping tacos, I'm sorry. That's why I keep covering my face.
The tacos were bomb, and it's just a sign of how good they were. So, you know, I get it. You don't have to explain that to me at all. Yeah, that was the best part. That was the highlight of my day.
Oh my god!
Besides this,
talking
like,
you missed out, Mark. You really did.
Should have got some of that spicy meat.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it because I think we covered pretty much damn everything, and I really, really appreciate you doing this because
thank you.
I've been thinking about this for like years now.
Oh wow! Well, I appreciate your support, and I hope we didn't disappoint.
No.
I feel like I have more energy, like on TikTok. So I'm like, hey guys! And then now I'm like,
I know. I was up at 4 a.m. this morning, so I'm pretty white.
Yeah, I flew for Texas for this. We talked about this on the channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, but
I'm not gonna
I think the next step is obviously we need more music, and then we need to get you in the South.
Yeah.
We need to get you in the South sooner or later.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some of that good Texas barbecue.
Oh yeah, we promised.
I want to see how people fight in the South. I want to see if they hit harder down there or up here.
I'll take you to 6th Street at 3 a.m. It'll be done.
I've only got about 5 fights left in my life, so
I wouldn't do that. I would never do that to you. I think you will be surprised how excited people will be, and then I also surprised how nice people are.
Yeah, I definitely want to go to the South.
So
yeah. Might not make it back.
I'm
it happens.
100% down for sure to go.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, and obviously listen to. What are we on installment of Pow Wow Punk Rock 3? And obviously anything before that.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.